Only a few of us remember the old ways. A time before the canonical episodic storm. It was quite a nice time, to be honest. We got a lot more done, but nope. Unfortunately, at the start of every episode now, we begin with the storm. There is one coming in 4:20 seconds. Hey, you can't make that up. That is, that is incredible. Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again, finally, to Pizza Hut. We have a lot to do today, and we've done a lot. I must say, the base is coming along beautifully. We are building at scale. It is looking real nice. People are begging me to enclose the workshop. I refuse. It won't happen. We're not going to do it. What we might need to do, though, is enclose this part of the workshop, because as the storm comes in, it's going to beat up our rover. Old Marge here probably isn't going to make it too far. I'm a little worried about it, but you know what? You know what? That's a problem for future me. Another little bit of duct tape can't fix. We do have a bigger problem, which duct tape absolutely cannot fix, and it's something that I cannot believe I have done, and I need to make right. It's O'Neill with 2 L's. There's another one. I hear he's not as funny. Okay, thank God for that. All right, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Just so long as we never look at this exact downlink over here. If you don't look at it, it can't hurt you. Don't worry. How is our battery looking over here? We've actually got a little bit of juice. So one of them's dead. The other one's still good. I think the ship's doing totally fine. That's, yeah, 76%. And still scanning? Are we? Also, now that we know where the deep miners are, rather where the regions are, I think we should take a look at what we've got in our area. To do that, we need to break out our tracking cartridge, which is actually something we started the game with, but we haven't used yet. So let's head over into here. Let's cycle the airlock, and because I think it's inside this locker. I think. I appear to have thought wrong. No surprises there. Well, while we're here, let's get some snacks and refill everything. Also, there have been some changes with the fridge. I've been instructed not to assume things are the way they always used to be, which is a truly insane thing to say, because that is, I think, probably the most normal approach to knowledge, is to assume it hasn't changed until new information is presented. But who am I to disagree with the pedantic YouTube commenter? No, not I at all. The fridge used to be a perfect insulator. Used to be able to take it down to like negative 100 and something Kelvin, and then it would keep the food super cold. That doesn't work anymore. Now it actually slowly loses temperature to the room around it. And something about that is causing damage to this glass window. This is the groaning sound we've heard, which if you listen very carefully, you will note is no longer groaning. And nothing's exploded, from what I can tell. I genuinely think the creaking sound we were hearing was this window for some reason. Now, thankfully, that's actually a very easy fix because we have it double windowed. And the way it works in Stationeers, at least for now, is that if you put in both panes, you actually double the pressure tolerance of the window. And see, this one's being injured too, as is that, but the wall's fine. Yeah, they're nowhere near their pressure tolerance. I mean, it's like 200 something kilopascals. So I don't know why it's doing that. And to be honest, I don't care. Let's go outside and check the deep mining region. 2 minutes. All right, I think to preserve the integrity of this baby, I think we should back her up. There we go. I love that it just goes in a box. That is just peak, man. Absolute peak. Now, there are actually 2 cartridges we can use here. One is the deep miner, which will give us the deep minables at the region we're currently standing in. And the other is the tracker, which should give us the coordinates. I don't know. The deep miner might give us the coordinates. I guess we'll find out. I'm genuinely not sure. I also do love the suggestion that the beacon, if placed in the game, like the actual big one, should put a marker on your map. I think that is a fantastic suggestion for the Deep Minables map. So RocketWorks developers, if you're watching, please do that. It's very, very clever. Because right now, there's no way to like put a pin in the map to like see what you're talking about or what you're doing, which does kind of suck. Okay, so we can place the Deep Miner cartridge in there. We'll give it a battery. I suppose we might as well get another wireless battery. Okay, cool. So we've got our big old tablet. Let's take a look at what it's got inside it. So if I turn it on, you'll see that we are now looking at the deep mining region. And yes, it does indeed give you the coordinates, which is awesome. So we've got gold. our area right here will give us infinite gold if we build a deep miner. And I think we will be doing that today. We'll be building a deep miner, some storage, all those sort of good things. What is happening here, brother? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, the cat's even coming to see what's going on. All right, so if we have a look, our coordinates are x979 and z993. Don't worry about y, that's your vertical position. We're looking at the first and third values here. So if I click on the map, we'll change the position. Oh, 970. Where was that? 940, 941, 924. Oh, we're like way down here. Okay. And then we got to move across. What the hell? Oh, we got to move up. My bad. So 970 and then up. It's probably this one, right? Yeah, Hellas Crags. That's us. Okay, pure gold. So what's nearby? To our south, although I think this is actually flipped, so this will be our north. To our north, we have cobalt. To our south, we have iron, pure iron. That's pretty sweet. To the southeast, we got some silicon. It's actually, would that be the south? Hold on, my map's flipped in my head. I'm just going to say north, even though it's south. Okay. To the northeast, which would be the southwest, we have silicon. To the east, which would be the west, we have unknown resources. We have lead. Onto this side, we got cobalt. We've got iron, copper, and silicon. So a basic resource patch over there. And we've got coal. So we've actually got pretty much everything you could want in a pretty close proximity, except nickel, which is up there. The only problem is that getting resources out to all of these is actually quite a process. So I think for now, we'll just be happy with a little bit of gold being farmed up right here on base, because why the heck not? Yeah, let's get that going. We could even get some iron and silicon if we get up near the top, but that is pretty far away from our base. Our base is like down here somewhere, right around where I'm clicking, right over there. Okay, not exactly ideal, but it'll work for now. All right, so what are we going to work on next? I guess we could do a little bit of tidy up. We will not be enclosing the workshop, mostly out of spite at this point. I don't really have a good reason for it. Just to cause pain to those who love you most. One thing we can work on is this right over here. We can take a look at our various tasks so that we've got an idea of what we're going to be working on today. So we've got a combustion centrifuge. That is something we're going to need. Even if we are bringing back space ore or local ore, it doesn't matter. We're going to need a centrifuge to get the actual core components out that we want from it. We're going to run chutes from the launch pad. Yep, that's going to be quite a process. We're going to connect up the fuel to the centrifuge. That's pretty important. And we're also going to need some silos to handle the space and dirty ore. It doesn't really matter which. We're going to use whichever one works. We need a million billion chutes to do all those connections. That makes sense to me. Then we need additional workshop storage. As you can see, we're pretty full up over there. We would love a food oven for the kitchen, just so that we can cook some slightly better food quality stuff. We can can the potatoes, which I think gives us just a little bit more juice out of them. We can automate the ice crusher. That's never going to happen. We can update the battery script. Never going to happen. We can store keep some storage with the silos and the computers and the whatnot. Yep. Probably never going to happen. You know what is going to happen is I'm going to go inside. This is loud out there. All right, well, since we got nothing else to do, time for a shower. Stop looking, you damn pervs. And okay, wait, hold on. Can I just to know? Can I shower with the helmet on? Please let this be true. Yes. If I close the lid. Oh, that's so funny. Well, I'll see you all in a second. Good morning, everybody. Oh my god, my back. We should really stop putting rocks in there instead of a mattress. Okay, hello. We're awake and we're moving. We are moving. We are grooving. We got a lot to do today, let me tell you. First things first, I think we need to grab our silo and start planning out where the ores are going to be received to. So let's grab one of these. And in the meantime, where do I make the deep miner? Is it you? Yes, let's make a combustion deep miner. You need Hastelloy and Astraloy. Interesting. Okay, in the meantime, can you make me a centrifuge? Yes, I want the combustion centrifuge. You need Invar and Constantin. Well, you know, I'm pretty tempted to just give you your own batch. We have iron. We have nickel. Let's just fire up. Let's just do a batch of Invar and Constantin just for our printer here. I don't know if I have copper, actually. Need to check that. Oh, we're actually at Invar pressures already. That's incredible. Wow. Okay, I didn't realize. Have we got Invar in there? No. Why is it doing that? That's weird. That was not planned. Okay, score. So I'm going to take this out of my hand before I throw it in the furnace. And then we need a single block of iron. Okay, and that will make us our Invar. Beautiful. And then we need to do the same thing with copper. There was somebody complaining in the comments that our furnace setup here makes it seem like this is what is necessary in order to use the advanced furnace. And look, I don't have much to say to that, except that if you think that that is the case, I'm afraid to tell you that you're incorrect. You can use the advanced furnace just like the regular one. You can just chuck ice in there and it will work. In fact, in my original video on the advanced furnace, that is exactly what I do in order to make stellite. So you don't need to do it this way, not at all. But it's just the way I've chosen to do it, because we're at that point in the game, and there's no reason not to do it, you know, at full measure, I think. Ooh. It is updating. Okay, cool. So that's still working. Beautiful. All right. Before I do anything regarding the build, though, I do just want to make sure that this is still working. So let's just take a look at our map. Yes, we are mining. Beautiful. So what are we doing for our storage? We got 81% battery, so we got no issues there. We currently have 6 stacks, so that's 6 stacks of 100, right? Yes, I believe so. And what are we mining? I've actually forgotten. Let me see the location info. We're mining copper. Okay, so we've at half a gram. So we've got 600 copper. We've got 600 space ore. Each gram of that space ore is worth half a gram of copper, so we've got 300 grams of copper. Okay, well, I'm just going to let that go. No reason not to. I think we could use all the copper we can get. So let's head downstairs here and build the silo. Oh, hello, spectator camera. I'm gonna place you in a hole if you don't mind. Just gonna nudge you this way. No one needs to know. No one saw anything. My boy! Father, help! All right, where are we gonna put this silo? Straight up. I think I'm just gonna do my centrifuging like right here. We could take it inside the tunnel, make a little room for it over there, or even further into the base, because I think I wanted to do my storage over here. Oh, this is going to be sorting and storage on top. So it does kind of make sense to have like the centrifuging going on over this way. So let's carve out a little room for it. And I think it is time for us to get out the old terrain manipulator tool, so that we can actually build back some of the soil, because I would like to bury a lot of this stuff. I don't like how it's sort of like partially stuck out into the air, and I don't think that's actually a feature we've shown off just yet. All right, cool. So we'll put the centrifuges over here somewhere. Just going to give myself a little bit more room to work with. But let's get the silo built first, as that's kind of going to dictate where a lot of other stuff goes. All right, so the SDB silo, this one over here, which I assume is an homage to Sadamo De Beers, one of the first Stationeers creators, really. And if so, that is very, very cool, and I'm very happy with the devs for doing something like that. I think that's a nice little nod. Okay, let's see what we need to make this thing. I actually don't know. I'm assuming a welder, yeah. So how many sheets go in there? 15? Oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to be broke at the end of this. What do I need now? Plastic sheets. Oh, crud. I didn't prepare for this at all. Okay, with 15 sheets per silo, and we want H silos. That is, yeah. that's like 100 sheets on its own. So I guess you know what you're doing now. Beautiful. And then, oh, just 5 cable coils. Okay, that's not that much. I thought it'd be way more cable coils. Now, I have used these devices before in the past, in the very, very distant past, on my Europa playthrough, I believe, is where we last used them. So, a long time ago, that's for sure. But we now need to connect the input of this silo to the output of this rocket. However, this is important. These silos will stack whatever you put into them, meaning if I put in a stack of, let's say, 19 cable coils, and then a stack of 50 cable coils, well, oopsie, I may have accidentally connected things when I shouldn't have. What will happen is that, let me just connect this up so I can get this out. What will happen is that it'll just keep both stacks in the exact same state you gave it to them. Meaning that if you've got 19 in the first and 50 in the second, it will not combine them. You'll get 19 out, there we go, and then 50 out after that. This is very important because it does mean we need to use stackers before the silos so that we can make sure we're storing the maximum amount of ore in each space, which, I mean, for Stationeers is 50, right? But I think the space ores go to 100. Either way, we need a stacker and then a bunch of chutes to connect that thing up. Just something to be aware of. Okay, you keep working. I need chutes next. I need a lot of chutes. Alrighty, so where are we going to put this thing? Our stacker is going to need to go right in here. I'm thinking something like this. Yeah, that'll work. If we move it back one, we can actually get it... hold on, let's just see. Where is that? Yeah, the chute can come straight down. So if we move it back one, we can flip it like so, and then have the power come in the other side. Gorgeous. Except that's the wrong height. Move it down one. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, then we need an input. Just like so. And then let's have you coming up. And you know what? I'm actually going to make this a junction. Are we going to be able to do that? Might be tricky with that pipe. This might actually need to move forward one. Crud. Okay. Because I want to also be able to both manually input ores, right, into this thing, but also to bring our deep miner, which we'll probably just slap back here somewhere. To also feed ore into it. Or multiple deep miners, why not? Infinite gold, forever. Okay, lovely. We've got chute output coming down, just the way you want it. We need to power up this stacker. Of course, we need to set its value as well. Let's just drop this for a moment. We'll set this to like 500. Basically, store as much as you can. I don't think it'll be able to store much more than it currently is, but, you know, the dream. The dream's alive. This is going to be our dirty ore stacker. And I'm going to start naming things as we go along because this can get really complicated very quickly. And this is going to be our dirty ore silo. Okay, so we've got an ability to put ores into the silo. And of course, we're also going to want the ability to bring them in from down here. Are you going to work if I place you like this? You will. Okay. Because I think I want another junction, believe it or not. Yep, going upwards, because this one's going to connect to wherever the deep miner goes, and this one here is actually going to be for me to throw stuff in. Because we might end up with, like, any reagent mix, and anything from our recyclers can also just go into here. Okay, cool. So that's going to allow me to just throw stuff in. It'll go into the silo. What next? We need a way to bring the stuff over here to build on the silo. Now, are you going to require a frame? Of course you do. Let's go get some frames. And I guess I probably want 2 combustion furnaces. I like to run them in pairs. There's many benefits to doing this. They work very well in large numbers, and we might as well run them in pairs. And you could, of course, run the exhaust from them, the combustion centrifuges, into a Stirling generator, which is something I have seen people asking me to do, but we played around with those a lot on the Vulcan series, and I kind of want to explore different things on this one. We also really don't need power. We've got plenty with the wind and solar that we're currently running. We are so, in fact, overproducing that it's not the end of the world. Okay, gorgeous. Let's do a couple of little maintenance features. The first one is absolutely going to be to put down one of these. This is going to simplify my life dramatically. I could just find a good spot for... You know what? Right up there. That's damn perfect. And let's spray paint this whole line yeller. That's the one that we want. Perfect. Okay, so we can probably go put away that spray paint. And then I wanted this thing to be brown, just so I can keep track of what's what. And this is going to be our dirty ore line, so let's make sure that it is also correctly color-coded. Lovely. Let's get this thing wired up. Okay, stunning. That is another major milestone. We have got our ore silo correctly configured. Beautiful. Now, what do we want to do with it? We want to take the ore from that silo, run it along the side here, and into some centrifuges. So let's run the chutes first. And I'm going to remove this guy. Or at least take out the central piece here so we can walk through. Nah, the whole thing goes. Screw it. Okay, lovely. And we've even mined in an accidental skylight. But I will be honest with you people, this is all day 83 behavior, and we are running behind schedule as predicted. In fact, we need to get going right away. I think the first thing we put down on day 83 is going to be that centrifuge, so we know what we're building towards. You don't need much to make these work. They are so simple, which is why I love them. You basically just need fuel, which comes in the back. You need a way to exhaust it, which we'll do with some simple pipe. And yeah, that's going to be it. We're going to get fuel from there. We're going to get the input from there. So we've got a lot of pipes to run over and around. We'll get power from this side of that transformer, and we'll do an exhaust chimney out the back, maybe out the skylight. Why not? So I think this, I'm just trying to think, is there any reason I don't just set these right up here? Nah, let's put them back one just for visibility. So we'll put one here, and then we'll get another one that goes right there. Now, to build this thing, I believe we need some steel sheets. Yes. And then the cable coil, just the one. Very easy. And it's done. Okay, it really is that simple. I love a simple build. Okay, we don't really need the data connected right now, but at the same time, why not? So let's just wire that in, so we'll be able to turn this puppy on, but he's got no fuel. So that is going to be the next major attempt, which is to run this line along there, around the back, and into that. But I've got some chutes on me, so let's also do it this one. Yeah, let's go along this roof, and then we'll come down and into the machines. Okay, lovely. So that will send stuff along. It'll come over to here, and then we need to send it this way. At which point, he will go forward one more stop. And you know what? Give me a window on that, and then I want a flip-flop junction. These ones here, the overflows. So these are awesome. The way they work is it will send stuff to the base, like send stuff to the first one until it backs up, and then it'll send it down the line. This means that this machine will get most of the use, but that's okay. I only want 2 of them running if the first one's overwhelmed. Totally fine by me, and it will get overwhelmed pretty quickly. Okay, so that's that. Then we need to set up the exhaust. So that's our input. That's where the fuel comes in. This is the output. So we want to send that to this side, I guess, and then go up. Why don't you give me a straight 10 piece there? Just like so. And yeah, I love that it just sticks out of the ground. That's exactly perfect. Oh, actually, you know what? Pick you up once. Let's put a one-way valve down there. One-way valve, super optional. This is just because I like the way they look. Just feels more official to have one there, you know? Just like so. Then you give me the old straight 10. Perfect. And then on top of that, doink. A little bit of a chimney. I love it. I love it. Okay, cool. So we'll be able to link up our other centrifuges output over there, and then we need to bring in some fuel. Okay, gorgeous. That is linked up correctly. And now just for this piece. Just like so. Excellent. Okay, so we have fuel, we have exhaust, we have power, and we have data, all linked up to our combustion centrifuge. So let's get this puppy fired up. Now, everything I'm about to show you comes from the absolutely fantastic, very small, very new YouTube channel named JakeSays. At the time of recording right now, his channel has 48 subscribers. Let's make that 1,000, please. Everybody watching this, go over there and at least check out his content. If you like it, please give a like and subscribe. Supporting new Stationeers creators is the single best thing we can do to get this game into more people's faces and, therefore, make it more successful, because God knows we really want to see this game grow, right? So JakeSays on YouTube has a fantastic tutorial on many things, to be honest, but in particular the combustion centrifuge. And following his guide, this is how we do it. So first we bump up the throttle on our centrifuge to 10%. Don't worry about the choke, leave that at 0. We're just going to push up the throttle. Now, as you can see, our stress is rapidly increasing inside the chamber. If that gets to 100%, this thing's going to make a terrible sound and grind to a halt. I am not going to subject you to it. If you'd like to hear it, go watch his video. It is bone-raking, let me tell you. So we're going to wait for this to hit 50% on the stress, and then we're going to take the throttle down to 0%. And somehow, we've actually managed to make it through. Okay, cool. Normally what you do is you take it up to 50%, you put the throttle down to 0, you wait for this thing to hit about 125 RPM, and then you take the throttle up to 50, but stress is decreasing and the RPM is increasing, so let's manually fire that up a little bit. Now, let's see how this behaves. We're going to take the throttle up to 50%, and then we're going to wait for the RPMs to hit 275. And when they do, we'll take the throttle to 100, and then we'll start feeding it a little bit of fuel. Right now, we're not actually burning much in the way of fuel. We're just putting the tiniest little trickle to get this going. This is kind of like our electric starter motor, you could think of. All right, I'm going to break protocol for a second here because we've actually got a pretty good speed going. Let's take that up to 90%. Make it 100, screw it. And we're off. Okay, so already this is worth 2.6 of those electric centrifuges. Those run at 100 RPM. This is running at 273, meaning that it is already outpacing the best centrifuge we had previously, which is pretty damn sweet if you ask me. Okay, lovely. Now we need to give it something to centrifuge. Also, let's just confirm that because this is a very dumb mixture, it will still mix even if there are imbalanced ratios. And yeah, it has. It looks like we've run out of O2. So we are actually burning hydrogen rich, which is a waste of hydrogen. So let's go have a look here and see what's up. It's a shame. Our fuel mixture is all scuffed. Okay, you are empty. And that is because we're running a lot of oxygen through here, which makes sense. Why don't we just cut off the greenhouse for a while? It's okay. It doesn't need it right now. And that should cause a lot more of this stuff to collect. Yes, it is. And in being collected, it will then start being mixed into fuel once we drop below the ratio. And that will slowly over time correct the ratio. It's just right now we don't produce enough oxygen to both support the greenhouse and support fuel mixing. It's all right. It's not the end of the world. It's not something we really need to worry about for the moment. That is a problem for the future. Our pressure in here has dropped rather substantially. And yet you haven't turned on. And I bet you I know why. Yeah, you should be done. Oh, you're going to keep trying, actually. Yeah, you will. And now, now we've got the opposite problem. We've got no volatiles. So now we're going to be pumping O2 into here, but not receiving any, not receiving any combustion components. Whoopsie. It's fine. All right, let's put down our second centrifuge. Oh, so close. So close to finishing that one off. Okay, not quite lucky enough. We're going to need a lot more pieces. Apparently, I also need to go to the bathroom and take a little bit of a snack break. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, you're kidding me with this. One on each? One on each. Okay, well, we don't even have any chutes, so I can't claim that much there. All right, well, there's not really any point keeping you going. So let's take this down to 0 and turn you off, because all you're doing right now is burning fuel. Not really achieving much. All right, so we might as well turn you off and just sort of let you do your thing. What is the problem here? Just to confirm, we have oxygen, we need volatiles. Okay, grand. And we are actually slowly correcting the ratio. All right, let me go get some more materials. Let me go sort out my horrible, horrible living situation at the moment, and I'll be back in a moment. It really doesn't matter how many times you see that. It's just so welcome, man. This game is so dark. Also, am I crazy, or does it just feel like we're almost always in the darkness in Stationeers? I feel like the days take 30 seconds, the nights are 7 years. It drives me crazy. Anyway, I did check, by the way, for those of you wondering, and we did not blow our cables on this side of the transformer. Not at all, although we are indeed duplicating our power, which is absolutely incredible. Everyone has confirmed in the comments that that is a bug, and it is a known bug, and it's still in the game. When I respect the devs for not fixing it. That's the kind of energy I want to see in the world. Now, something else we are doing right now is making up a big old batch of iron, because we are out of it. Excuse me. Thank you. And we need some more chutes. A lot more chutes. About 600 iron worth of chutes. Someone did also mention that they didn't understand what all the holes were. They thought they were part of the terrain generation. No, sir. No. This is all us. To build a base that big, you need to do this. Can you see the distance? Allow me to help you. It goes for a while. all those little bumps that are now loading in all the way in every single direction, that's been pulled up so that that can be put up. Aha, I see hydrogen. Okay, lovely. We got big old stacks of ore. Let's go ahead and turn these in, and then we can get back to our build. Yes, let the chutes flow through you. I really do hate having to come back here for just one little piece, but there we go. That's done. Then I also need to set up this. Gorgeous. And I think that that is pretty much everything except the chutes done for these. So yeah, as we said, this one's going to be the priority splitter. In fact, I think the one on the back is going to run the most often, which is totally fine. Let's put a window in there so we can see what's going on. And then we also want a window in front of them so that we can see if anything's waiting. They're more expensive, but I do like knowing what's going on. Okay, so that'll give us a pretty clear indicator of how much ore is backed up and in what quantities. Lovely. I think let's get our rockets and let's move it over, because we don't need any more copper at this point. Let's go pick up some iron or something. I don't know what else was in that cluster. Let's go have a little look-see. Okay, O'Neill, you can probably stop mining. I think we're done with that. And I want you to... What else did we have here? We had iron, and we had copper. The other potential stuff for the rocky asteroid was gold and silicon. Well, we don't need gold. We're going to be able to get that from our deep miners. So let's go for the silicon, I think. I want you... Oh, sorry, the iron. Yeah, let's get some iron. So I want you to fly over there, and we need to turn on the pump gas engine. And just to check, we have 300 seconds of fuel remaining, and we'll be there in 70. So we're probably going to be able to mine this, and then we need to go back to the planet. Although, to be completely honest, I'm actually a little sus. I think I want that to be my destination. Yeah. Now, turn this off. Clear how do I change your destination? There is a way to do this. You haven't run out of fuel. You're just not going where you thought you were. Okay, go there. Clear destination. Did we just teleport? Hold on. Set destination. Hold on. Turn that off. So we've left that one. Oh my god. We had 270 seconds. Is this an exploit? Hold on. I have to know. For science, right? For science. Set your destination. Okay, that rocket's flying there. O'Neill. God, we need to change that name. Turn you on. You got 268 seconds. There's no way, right? Stop that. Okay. And then clear your destination. Oh! We've invented warp speed. Yes, dude. This is huge. Wait, hold on. Yeah, can you just keep that up there? I need to see it at all times. Turn off the rocket miner. We don't need him anymore. Turn off the storage for the moment. How full are you? 16. Okay, so 1600 copper. We are now going to attempt a landing. So I want you to go to the launch mount. And I'm going to save because I don't actually fully understand how this works. Okay, let's see if this works. So, O'Neill with one L, the not so funny one. I want you to come home, right? You're going to auto land. Go. So he's going to begin his descent there. What happens if I clear the destination now? I have to know. Well, the rocket's not there, and nothing blew up. Wait, can I send him back up? Sorry, this is so stupid. Yes, I can. All right, we have to do this the right way. So you're gonna go there. We're gonna turn on your engine, and you are descending. We have 350 seconds of fuel time. It's gonna take us 181 seconds to arrive. Our current velocity is 340. That's our descent rate, basically. Now, you got to be a little bit careful. You don't want to accidentally increase this number because your rocket will just go back up. The game's still a little bit too stupid. And what will happen is it'll burn, right? It'll fall, burn, and then just go back up. And it doesn't like turn off the engine so that it can drop. I'm sure you could do that with scripts, but at present it doesn't. And oh, I think I see the light. There he is. Okay, so let's have a look at the stats. We are currently dropping, and we're decreasing our speed pretty substantially. We're accelerating at a pretty constant 1.87. Can I, like, increase that? Yeah, can I make this, like, 75? Okay, that'll increase that. And so we should see this number decrease more rapidly. We are 5Ks above the surface. Can I make that, like, 85 for a second there? Okay, we're 3Ks up and dropping. We have... It's going to take us 50 seconds to descend, and we've got 225 seconds of fuel time, so we're still fine on that metric. The readouts are not particularly clear. Listen, I'm someone with, like, 2,000 hours in Kerbal Space Program, and this... the way they've done it is so confusing. Okay, we are a kilometer above the surface, still descending at, 50 meters per second, which is pretty quick. Oh, here comes the rocket. Here comes the rocket. Oh, no, wrong one. Okay, show me the fireworks. Beautiful cross shape coming off that. Look at those shock cones. Gorgeous. Come on. Yes, people! We have touchdown! Beautiful! Absolutely beautiful. Oh, hello and welcome home, O'Neill. Oh, you've done it. You've brought home the goods. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. There we go. Absolutely incredible work, gentlemen. Incredible work. Okay, now we could update our scripts and add some more buttons, or I could just press that one. Lovely, and that will connect up those umbilicals. Let's go press the buttons on this side for the rest. And then we do also need, there's a couple other things we need to add to this controller. We need a way to drop the items out of there using that pull lever, which we can work on in the distant past. First things first, close you. I need to attach the gas umbilical and the power umbilicals. So we should see the batteries begin to charge. And yes, indeed, the state on the right there is increasing. Gorgeous, they are charging. We can turn on the fuel pump, but not to increase the pressure. I actually want to drain the tanks completely. Fantastic.
Hydration critical.
Shut up. Okay, couple of critical items before we do anything else. The first one being to find that avionics unit and rename this rocket. No one can ever know. No one may ever know. Ah, the O'Neill with 2 L's has landed. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, now what do we need to do? We need to turn on... I think we need to make sure the cargo miner is also on, actually. And that's just so... Can I get you behind that cable? I don't know if I can. Nah, don't worry about it. We need to turn on the storage, and we need to pull the chute. And this will start sending things out the side here, and beautifully into there. 77 dirty ore. That's not the amounts I wanted. Why aren't you stacking correctly? Are you set too high? If I set you to 100. Would that work better? We'll find out later, who knows. Okay, so we have 15 stacks of ore. Let's open this bad boy up, and we can see the space ore making its way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and it's homebound. And yes, indeed, we are prioritizing this centrifuge. Lovely. And let's get these puppies up and running. Now, we will be using scripts, of course, to do this. You can set them up just as such, and I'll be using the scripts created by JakeSays to do so, but we'll get to that in a second. I just want to get these things up and running for starters. Have they adjusted the behavior on these? I don't think so. If the stretch doesn't reach 50%, then the guide he gave is, I guess, no longer necessary. Because these have been such a pain to do manually for so long. But it looks like they're actually fine now, which is very surprising. Yeah, the stretch is kind of resolving itself. Hey, listen, I'm not complaining. They are such a pain to do normally otherwise. Yeah, look, it's even going down. Beautiful. So we'll just wait for the We'll wait for the RPMs to get close to 275. Oh, you know what? We can actually go up to 50 now, I think. Yeah. Let's get that throttle going up. We should have a bunch of hydrogen in this line now. Yes, we do. 1.7 megapascals, and we've got plenty of pressure in there, which means that we should be mixing. That's a better ratio. It's not a perfect ratio, but it's a better ratio. In order to clean it up, we'd have to either vent the lines and then do it again. It's a whole thing, and I don't really care. Okay, I mean, look, we're close enough here. I think we can take that to 100. Stress is still dropping. And let's just give it a little bit of juice. Fantastic. Okay, so we are processing ore at a breakneck pace, as you can see there, and it's producing copper. So we're going to get tons and tons and tons of copper out of this process. Lovely. Now, we need to start sending it somewhere, but that's a very good start, I think. Okay, speaking of sending it somewhere, let's start setting all that up. Now, we don't have to do this for a while. These machines can hold an incredible amount of stuff in them before they fill up. I mean, we're talking like, I've seen thousands of ore in there, and it's not a problem. So don't worry about that too much just yet. Day 85 is upon us, and with it brings a brand new challenge. We've now got deep space ore being mined up. We're able to process it. Now we want to find a way to actually sort what we've processed and sort of filter it all into where it needs to be. And to do that, we're going to use a set of sorters. Now, we're actually going to need quite a few of these, so I'll just print up like 5 of them to start, and we'll use that as our jumping off point. Because believe me, there's a lot going on here. We also need a computer, which we had lying around, and a sorter motherboard. Lovely. And then I'm also going to want some SDB silos so that we've got somewhere to send all this stuff. Now, I'm a big fan of placing these in order that you're going to want them. And I think we actually want these silos. They do fit perfectly like this. You can't put them on their side, by the way, which is actually pretty cool. But I think we're going to keep things pretty straightforward. We're going to have silos along the outer wall here. And they are going to contain all the resources we might want. And we can just come through and dispense them as needed. So we'd have one here, 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 here to start, right? We need 12 of these. So that gives us, that's 4. Well, that's 12 if we're storing like the ices and stuff too. Let's start with 8 though and see how far that gets us. You don't have to stick to the boardwalk plans. Boardwalk? No. Notice board. I know how to words. Alright, so one of these is going to be copper. Let's arbitrarily pick a friend. I guess you could be iron, you can be copper, you could be silicon, and you'll be coal. So that's going to be our 4 basics. And if I put another one here, then that one would be iron, though. But to be honest, I'm more likely to put one here and then move these stairs. So let's do that. Let's get you be iron, you'll be copper. Why do I need to sort this out now? Well, because I need to build the dang thing. Okay, so that's going to be our copper one. And let's just give it a name for now. And it will store all of our copper ores. And just before I forget, we must remember that all stackers also require, all silos, sorry, also require a stacker, which I think I'm actually going to put underground so I don't have to look at them. Ugly. Okay, and then you should have a chute going straight down because that's going to connect to your sorted silo area. Ooh, this is going to get real complicated. I'm excited. And let's just spray paint you green because I think copper should be green. Okay, so next step is going to be to build the actual sorting array. So there is our little chute. That's what's going to feed the copper, which means we need to build up to that point. I think we need a computer up here in order to do the sorting. And this little space over here seems like as good a space as any. So let's build down you. You're going to take our sorter motherboard and you're going to get some power. Okay, we are going to need a transformer here to power this area. Next up, we need the sorters. So the way these machines work is actually pretty dang straightforward. You place them down here. Anything that goes in this side will be filtered, right? The filtered output comes out over here. The unfiltered output goes on straight. So basically, it will continue on in a straight line until it needs to be filtered, at which point it will branch off. So what we're going to need is a series of splitters, or series of sorters rather, right next to these funnels, one for each silo, and then as the silo needs it, it will split it off. We also need to make sure we've got space for our stackers as well, so that we ensure that we are getting maximum capacity out of our silos. We don't want to be sending like 1 gram of copper to live in there. So I think the stacker will live here in this row. And of course, we'll put some floors on this, don't worry. Let's just game this out. We will connect you up. I think we'll have a window on that one. This can be straight. This can be a corner. Okay, so that is the input to the silo done. Now we need to input to you. My plan initially was to send all the ores to the back, put them through sorters, and then filter them forward again. Oh no, it would actually be a bit more of a pain to do it on this side. Yeah, and the reason it'll be a pain is because the output chute would then have to go under the input one. No, so it is easier for me, in this direction anyway, to go on this side. Okay, so you will be the sorter for copper. So let's give you a name. You're my copper sorter, and you are my copper stacker. We'd want a window there, and we'd want a connection here. Beautiful. And then, of course, we also need to make sure we've got this stacked correctly. So let's set it to 100. I mean, it's going to stack to 50. So let's set it to 50. Make sure we don't end up with any partial stacks coming through there. Make sure to turn it on. We want to make sure to turn on this bad boy as well. So we'd have a pair of junctions like this and then just sort of copy paste along. Yeah, that totally works for me. And we'd have them in line like this. And then you would have your unfiltered input going this way. Like that, and your filtered input would branch off and become the iron connection. Oh, it's working. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. No notes. No notes. Oh, one note, which is that this window is pointless because you can't see it because of the line on the other side. Right. Well, that saves us a couple shoots, so that's fine. I mean, we could make that one a window and then you could see both, but it's okay. We don't need to. Okay, so then if I'm correct, we should be able to place this chute here, dunk, like so, and I'm just going to mirror it. We have a windowed one, and then we have a stack of 10. And that should basically take us all the way up there. Yes, dude. Okay, and that's the iron silo. Oh, fantastic. Okay, well, I need to go take care of my needs, but then I think we need to take care of all of this. Believe it or not, the sun is rising on day 88, or at least it's about to, and we've got ourselves a sorting array. So let me explain how this thing works, and then we'll actually do the setup. I'm going to need a trusty helper to make this happen. Okay, cool. So we've got ourselves some sheets in our hands, and some chutes, and these are going to do a pretty good job of demonstrating how this whole network works. So as we know, our rocket comes down and drops a bunch of ice into the silo. That then gets sent down this chute, where it hangs a left. This then gets filtered by our very angry machines, which we do need to deal with. There's rather a chorus of pain going on over here, which is, while music to my ears, is not exactly what I was hoping to hear when I came around. In fact, let's just turn those off so they can start losing some of that stress. Anyway, our refined ore will spit out of the centrifuges and come along this network. It will then travel along this pipe until it gets to this point. Let's ascend and see what happens next. We then follow it along this pipe and into our first sorter. So the unfiltered stuff will come in the left side. Whatever we tell this thing to filter will be sent out the side, into the stacker, and then that stacker goes up into a silo. Everything else that isn't desired will go on to the next sorter, and then onto the next sorter, and the next sorter, and then it continues over to here, and there, and there, and there, and so on. So that is the basic setup. We have sorters for nickel, for lead, for coal, for silver, for iron, for copper, for silicon, and for gold. Those are all of our primary resources, the ones we use to make, well, basically everything else. Now, let's go ahead and test this system, shall we? So, we've got a bunch of stuff coming in over here. Well, let's go ahead and drop something into the system that is not currently filtered. Oh, wait, hold on, I missed a step. And the step I missed, actually, is to set this all up, because you need to use one of these, a sorter control motherboard in a computer. I think you could maybe do this with a laptop, but you'd have to have like a logic transmitter, and it'd be a whole thing. No, it's much easier just to build a standing computer for this and give it its own motherboard. So, for the iron sorter, we wanted to find, you guessed it, iron. In order to do that, we're going to scroll all the way down to the ore segment, which is all the way at the bottom of the list, and we're going to click on iron. For copper, same thing. We scroll all the way down, and we find copper. I really wish there was a way to enter this UI directly, because you can, you used to be able to search anyway. If I click there, can I search? Nope. So yeah, this is a bit of a pain point for me. This UI is atrocious, and for people who have reading disabilities, this is like really, really, really bad. They need to fix this. There needs to be a way to click into this UI so that you can just do it directly. I don't think it needs to be in world. I mean, the coding doesn't work that way. Alrighty, there we go. So we've got everything filtered correctly. So now, if I introduce something into the system that it doesn't really expect to be there, for example, maybe we throw in some chutes. In fact, let's just chuck a junction right here so we can add them. If I were to, say, chuck these chutes in, we'll see that they are going to get filtered down the line because none of the sorters are actually looking for them, and they'll eventually end up just getting spat out the front there, which is exactly what we want. But if we go get some of that copper that had frozen up those machines, let's go see what's going on over there. So if I, let's turn you guys off, for starters. We're letting the copper out. Okay, sorry, I've done this in the wrong order. I need to turn these off, open that up. Okay, let's go see it work. So we're seeing the copper chugging along, oh, until it gets there, and instead of going this way, it is going this way, which is exactly what we want. Now, you can see the copper is still backed up in there, and that's because our silos up top don't have any power. That's no good. We're going to have to give them some. These bad boys here also need power connections. And I, ironically enough, am completely out of copper, meaning that I can't, get to my copper. Do I have any in this? I have a little bit. Lovely. Okay. So I should... anything in here? Nope. Okay, so we should be able to just smelt up a little bit of copper. The irony is not lost on me in the slightest. At this point, we can also retire our recycler and centrifuge systems here. Maybe we want to put the recycler back down at some point, but I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem once we have actual infinite resources. Which, of course, Mark needs, canonically, for his rescue, I suppose? Sure, why not? Okay, very cool. All of our silos are on, and our copper silo does indeed have 8 counts of copper. And if we pull this out, that should be stacked to 50, and it is. Beautiful. That means that all of our systems are working as intended. So if I want to take out, let's say, another 200 copper, just got to let 3 of those flow, and I've got them all on hand. Ah, lovely. Lovely. So we just stroll on over here, chuck them in the old furnace, and boom, just like that, we've got copper. Now, of course, you can design this however you like. You can put the silos right next to the furnace so that you've got super quick switching, and then, you can have your workshop somewhere else or in the same space. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about a sandbox, is you can play with your sand however you like. Other people may do things slightly differently. I'm not salty. I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay, but what is not fine is, well, there's 2 things that are not fine. The first is that our centrifuges don't work, and we are actually out of gold for that purpose. Ironically enough, if I'd gone with the deep miner, we'd have the gold. What we can do in the interim here, very briefly, is to, we can fix all this. If I change what you are reading Here we go. Let's get the rocket running again. If I change what that thing is currently reading, because that's currently reading from a pressure sensor, which is not going to work. We could just read from the rocket tank, right? This one is the one we've got. A medium fuel tank. That's the one. Let's read the tank pressure straight from the tank. I think we should be able to do that, right? It can read its own pressure. All right, so that's just a little bit more safe, right? Let's export that. So now you're reading the pressure in the actual tank itself, I think. So, hypothetically, if I were to... Hold on, did I ever extend those umbilicals? Did we retract them at some point? No, they're extended. Battery's just aren't charging for whatever reason. That's a bit odd. Ah, yes, but this is the status of all batteries on our network. Right. That's a bug. That's a bug. It needs to be just the ones here, which is a little hot. We need like a dial to choose which rocket we're talking to. There were some great suggestions in the comments. Thank you to everyone who sent them. Okay, so you are currently on and pumping gas into the rocket. Yes, let me go confirm this. We're gonna have to set up some separate controls for this. Well, we would have to. Let's go ahead and just retract this umbilical. Okay, that one doesn't need to be there. Lovely. We must remember we need to turn off this hatch right there. Okay, I can't seem to click on it. We'll just have to do it in the controller. Otherwise, that's going to spit everything out into space. And let's just confirm that that turbo pump is on. Yes, it is, and it's going in the correct direction. Okay, lovely. And then, as painful as this is, I need to go gold mining. Ugh. Well, thankfully, we do have these, which makes it all a little bit less painful. Oh, and there's some gold right there. Stunning. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did I already have one of these? Oh, dude, this is what happens. This is what happens when you... when you have like a month and a half between recording sessions, man. Day 89 is upon us, and you can see that our centrifuges are running beautifully. In fact, they're actually currently being managed by a script written by the YouTuber JakeSays. And again, I just want to say thank you so much to JakeSays for that incredible work. At the time of recording, 48 subscribers. Let's please get that into the triple digits. For those of you who don't know, as a YouTuber, you only ever make money on your content if you're over 1,000 subs and a certain number of watch hours, but the subs are the really hard part, especially at the beginning. So if we can get him close to that number, or ideally over it, that would be incredible, so that at least he gets a little something, right, for the incredible value he's adding to the community. I don't know this guy, by the way. I'm just shouting out a smaller creator, which I think is the very least I can do with this ridiculous platform I, for some reason, have. And so if that's something that you're interested in doing, clicking a free button to help out a dude who's helping you for free, well, I think that's a pretty noble cause. I'm going to put down an icy housing, and I'm not going to explain how these scripts work, so that you are forced to go out there and help JakeSays by watching his video. Of course, you will find links to it in the description as well. Alright, I do know though, to make this work, I'm going to need a kicker script, as well as to rename our two combustion centrifuges here. I'm going to call this one CC1, and I'm going to call this one CC2. Alright, that's just CC1 because it's going to be running most of the time, because it'll be the first to be fed. So the rough way that Jake's script works, and again, if you want the details, you'll have to go watch his video, is that the script that is currently housed inside of this here combustion centrifuge will run the machine, right, itself. However, it is designed that when this thing has 1,000 ores inside it, and of course we can adjust that value, it will open the hatch, shut down the machine, and send those ores off to our storage. Now, that sounds great, but of course, we actually maybe need to start it up again afterwards. It won't automatically do that. It'll enter a dead state. And that's what the kicker is for. This is a second script you need to run with this thing over here, which I suppose you could technically run on a third machine that isn't controlled by the other ones, but oh well. And what you're going to do is you're going to load up the kicker script. Beautiful. You're going to send that to the motherboard, and you're going to export it. And again, if you want an overview of it, he's got a great video on how they all work. I do know I need to set CC1 to here, and CC2 to here. And voila, now when these machines eventually hit 1,000 ore, which we are very far away from, they will shut themselves down, export their goods, and then of course run that script. Now, 1,000's a bit too long, so what I'm going to do is actually adjust this We're going to grab that. We're going to hit import. We're going to quickly go over to the exporting point. There we go. And I'm going to make that something a bit more reasonable. Let's say 200, right? So one fifth what it was before. What the hell's going on with that shadow? Damn, ghost of the machine. All right, thank you very much, JakeSays, for running my centrifuges for me, and I now have plenty of time to go set up a combustion deep miner. That is the next thing we are going to be working on, people, so let's go get everything we need for it, because turns out there's a bit. Oh, also, we definitely got to launch that rocket. So, retract the gas umbilical. Well, actually, yes, do retract the pump as well, please. Thank you. That pump will just pump out what was in that little valve. In fact, we probably need a second pressure gauge, because that's the fuel pressure on the rocket. I need 2 consoles for this to do this, like, quote-unquote properly. I mean, I'm pretty happy with where it's at now, but to do it, like, perfectly, we would need to do it that way. All right, so everything should be retracted. Let's go into the actual rocket itself. We don't need SG-1. We need the O'Neill, correctly named. We need to go to O'Neill's cargo storage and make sure that it is closed. There we go. Let's just turn it on for a second so that it closes, and then we'll turn it off. Okay. Let's have a look at O'Neill's gas tank. We currently have 102 moles of goodies. Excuse me. I thought I told you to retract. Is everything responding correctly? Ah, I see why. Okay. Rocket's at 50% fueled. We need to give it a destination. We're going to set the destination. We're going to launch the rocket in 3, 2, 1. Good luck, soldier. Man, that never gets old. Okay, I'm going to allow him to ascend to the orbit of Mars, and then we might do a little bit of cheese to see what else we can find.
Hydration.
I would probably like to send him out to gather some iron rocks, I think. Yeah, we don't need frozen vapors. I think let's go get a batch of iron. Although, what else was available at this location? Gold. We don't need gold. We can do gold locally. Silicon would be nice. Okay, either way, he needs to get going. And honestly, we should probably build a bunch more rockets. Wow, that is getting really nicely filled out. How is SG-1 looking? Still 48% battery. Okay, we just got a last few little blips we got to go over. You know what's something we don't really do enough? Is just take a moment to appreciate this base. It is absolutely enormous. And it is genuinely doing a very good job of being a little base for us. Now look, a lot of stuff is sort of like open air and partially there, but it's okay. It's fine. It does the job, you know? I mean, who's to say that Mark won't have to spend another 100 days here at some point? Well, to be honest, I am. And unfortunately, and this is something a lot of people have asked for, I just don't know if another 100 days in this save is viable. For one simple reason, gents, and that's the fact that the gas update has happened. I'm currently keeping this game on a very old version of itself in order to keep this save alive, but what that also means, unfortunately, is that I can't experiment with the new features because I can't bring my game save forward so that I can check them out, and I kind of really want to. We're in sort of a bit of a crossroads, right? Either I can, keep the save up to date with the latest version of the game and, try and fix all the problems or whatever, or we start again on a more complex world with more complex mechanics and try something new. Maybe we do it as live streams. I don't know. I love the space. I've had so much fun with it, but I think its time might be done. And I really appreciate all the love and support that this series has brought. Magic and I have had so much fun making it. It has genuinely been very special, and I want to get this out of the way now, today, before, the next big episode, the finale, the final one, where Mark maybe, potentially, escapes. Who's to say? Who's to know? Certainly not me. I haven't written it yet. Okay, what we do need to do, though, is make ourselves a combustion centrifuge. Or combustion deep miner, sorry. For which we require electrum, hastaloy, and astraloy. And I have not made either of those just yet. Interesting. Okay, you make some more pipes, because I know I'm going to need those. We're going to need some more chutes, too. So if I have any iron, make yourself known to me now, please. I have a little bit of iron. Okay, because we need more chutes. Okay, I need to go mine up a couple stacks of gold. And then what were the other two? So the other ones we required were Hastaloy and Astraloy. Astraloy is one of these days. I'll find it. Astraloy is made from copper, cobalt, and steel. I do have some cobalt. I'm going to need to mine up copper. Okay, what else? And Hastaloy, or Hastaloy, is made from silver. Of course it is. Okay, so don't use all your silver. Nickel and cobalt. Okay, we're probably going to need a few things here. Alley-oop. Okay, so I think I should have everything we need. Let's make a batch of steel to start. I'm probably going to have to click this button more than once. Oh, there's already iron in there. Ah, gorgeous. Okay, we'll make a double batch of steel. Well, actually, no, we won't. Because I need to get my ratios right here. So I need 50% steel, 25% cobalt, 25% copper. So that's 50 copper, 100 steel, 100 cobalt. No, 50 cobalt. The math is hard. Okay, so we'll do 100 cobalt and then 100 copper. And even though I know we just got a whole bunch of copper, I found some on the floor. Okay, and you are making... Which one was this? This is for Astraloy. Astraloy is that one. Yes, number 15. Well, I might as well start processing it. What are your pressure requirements? I don't think I've ever made this. 30 to 40 MPa. Pretty hot. It's not that complicated. Okay, it's just high pressure, high heat. But, I mean, our furnace will be able to handle that. No problem. Stunning. Okay, so that gives us that part of the whole process. I need Electrum and I need Hastaloy. Hastaloy requires a similar pressure range, silver, nickel, cobalt. Okay, and that should make what we're looking for here. Hastaloy. There appears to be an issue. Holy shit. What happened, baby? Oh, the frames. They are a-chugging. She's spicy. Smelted Hastaloy. We did it. I got the achievement right there. Whoa! That was crazy! Cool, man! Damn! Okay, prep the furnace for a bit of this. Damn, dude, we did some serious damage! I think we blew up the sensor. Yeah, we did. The vents are still alive, incredibly. Oh my god, that was crazy. It looks like the script is done. Yeah, the script is dead. Wonder what happened. We blew something up. Oh, is my furnace destroyed? Something just failed. What? Oh no! Oh no! Whoa! What the hell? Okay, hold on. We gotta intervene here. The front window blew off. We do still have the furnace box, rather importantly. Okay. Okay, we had a pipe fail. Destroyed due to overpressure. Yeah, this one-way valve was probably the problem. Okay, well, let us rebuild. Okay, and then because the cable burnt out, it got too hot in here. Because the cable burnt out, these failed. Oh, interesting. So interesting. I've never seen a failure like that. I'm guessing that what happened is that the pressure in the furnace box actually got too hot. In fact, Barciel mentioned on one of the videos we did recently, I think it might have been the one where the advanced furnace was actually designed. And of course, Barciel is the creator of the original script that was used. They did mention that having this vent here might cause trouble. I wonder if that was related. Okay, lovely. And then we just need some pipes to reconnect the output. Incredible. I can't believe I just got the pressure failure achievement. They must have reset those, because I've definitely had that before. Like, I've had that happen on camera. I mean, all things considered, a pretty minor failure, right? Like, everything's still intact, astonishingly. Our vents aren't even damaged. Yeah, it was just the cable that burnt out. So yeah, this cable burnt out, which meant that this vent lost power, which meant that it couldn't regulate the pressure in here anymore. And ironically enough, that's the vent that actually pulls air out. And then it just blew. And that was the end of it. That was all she wrote. Alright, but let's put everything back together. And let's finish this off. And I just needed some electrum. The simplest of all the possible combinations. That was the one that got us killed. Incredible. Incredible. I'm amazed we're alive, to be honest. That was a little spicy there, wasn't it? Alright, so we're finally printing the combustion deep miner. What else do we need? We're going to need some electronic parts, some steel sheets, and a screwdriver. Okay. I have almost enough electronic parts. Let's get the rest of this. Wow, these are really expensive. 10 grams of Hastelloy each, and that was not easy to make. That's for sure. So, what? I mean, Hastelloy was particularly brutal for our system. What is the... It's not even... It's a pretty tight temperature range? So I guess we were pumping out a ton of gas, but I mean, the pressure isn't that high. Yeah, I guess it was just that, like, we were pumping out too much gas for that one-way valve to handle, and then it just ruptured. Makes sense. Oh, also, I do see a bit of a problem with our fuel mix. It's 94% hydrogen. Yeah, our oxygen systems have never really been up to scratch, which is surprising. I really thought they would have been fine, but maybe we just need to add more filters, to be honest. I think we probably needed them for a while. Just like passively pulling in air around the base and then piping to a single point. I think that might genuinely just be what we gotta do. Alright, let's go build this thing. Damn, these things are big. I always forget how big these are. Okay, we'll put you right over there. Let's do a little bit of excavation. Okay, electronic parts go in. We weld. And we screw. Beautiful. Okay, now you needed to connect to this section right here, I believe. Which means I am going to have to move this. Of course I am. Why wouldn't I? Well, let's be honest, you probably don't need data, Mr. Silo. I think we're fine on that. At least not right now. Although that being said, there isn't actually really a reason to send you to this. Except that it would be nice if you got stacked, but at the same time, who cares? Okay, final piece of this puzzle is to, of course, link up the pipes. And there are a lot of them. This is temporary. We'll do a better job of it. I just need iron, which I don't presently have, and this isn't going to give me. But you know what? People beg me for the deep miner, they get in the deep miner. They're just getting it like this. It's probably not the way they envisioned it. Okay, we got input and output. Okay, so input's easy. We'll just do one of these. Okay, cool. So that's fuel in. We do need a way to bring the exhaust out though. And I think I'm just going to steal a pipe cowling for that. And I'm out of... Oh my god, I'm out of iron. I don't have a pipe cowling. I have passive vents. This will work. It's a little overkill, but it'll work. Okay, there we go. That should be great. Everything is wrong. It's all ugly, but I am running out of time, and I am really keen to get this thing going. So, let's go ahead and give it a little bit of a throttle. And much like our combustion centrifuge, she's going to start spinning up. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, looks like stress is rapidly decreasing, so we can up the throttle. Chamber pressure is steadily climbing. Okay. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Okay, a little bit too much chamber pressure. Don't need that stress spiking. Okay, she is running, dude. She is running. Alright, it's going to take a while for this thing to bore down to the bedrock, and only when it hits bedrock will it start producing dirty ore, but it will then produce infinite dirty ore, provided that you can continue to fuel it. which we should be able to, because if I remember correctly, these things use like basically no, it's like almost nothing. My ratio's all messed up though. How am I out of oxygen? Something's broken over here. Like this is something about this system doesn't work correctly, man. And it just never has. I'm out of oxygen because there's nothing but O2 in the intake pipe. And that's because you're set to a higher number, aren't you? Oh, shit. We actually capped out. Okay, you let out like a megapascal, which should start pulling stuff through here. Yes? Oh, no. Oh, no. Gamers. We're out of O2. Let's basically empty out the CO2 tank. This system never worked very well. Next time I'm going to try something different. There we go. Now we're pulling in gas. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're farming oxygen again. This tank needs to be at the same limit as that for this to work, I think. I'm just going to put this on 13,500. Basically, this thing's always going to be on, and that's okay. Okay, we are siphoning oxygen. Slowly but surely, we are siphoning oxygen. Do you know what? Straight up. Kaboom. Oh! Oh! Crap! Okay. There was a little bit of pressure in that pipe. Oh, shit. Ooh, that one hurt. That one hurt. Okay. Damn. We almost broke our no-die streak. Okay, and just to confirm, we have 2 fully functional filters. We have previously processed 6 mol. Our pressure differential is increasing. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, fractional little smushkins of O2 building up inside there. Beautiful. So a bad coding setup had stalled that out completely. Unsurprising. That is day 91, and that is unfortunately all the time we've got for today. So tune in next time for the grand finale. Will Mark escape Mars? Will this deep miner ever produce a single iota of gold ore? Will I ever develop an entire prefrontal cortex? Find out next time on Surviving 100 Days on Mars. Thank you all so much for watching. Mark and I, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.